Hello, I'm going to do a video on my Yamaha MG10XU mixer. Some interesting features that I've noticed about this, but let's just go over the basic layout. So there's level channels 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the first two are similar. So I'm using channel 1, I have my condenser microphone plugged into it here. And it takes the 48 volt phantom power that supplies these 4 channels with phantom power. You can't supply it individually to each channel. It has a level indicator. There's a pan. So if I pan left, center, and then pan to the right. Here's an effects knob. I'll go over that a little bit later. There's a low, mid, and high EQ that you can set. Change the EQ on that, mid, and then there's a compressor on this channel as well. Excuse me. And then there's the gain knob, and so you'll see I have the gain set all the way up here as well as the level. Look at the meter, it's going up to the yellow. I'm trying not to get it into the peak where it clicks and clips into the red. So one thing I've noticed, watch videos, people will say that you really want the level where it's going up, just barely getting into the yellow. But to me, the output on this mixer through the USB is really low. So if you get it up into the yellow and try just barely clip the red, that seems to give the max signal and it's not going to distort. And so that's channels 1 and 2. 3 is similar, 3 and 4 are similar. Level, pan, effects. It has the low, mid, and high EQ. There's no compression on these 2 channels. There's a phantom power button and then the gain knobs. And so these are dual inputs that accept a microphone or a 1/4 inch input. And they also have this 26 dB pad on each of the 4 inputs as well as a high pass filter. 5.6 is sort of similar. It has a level, pan, effects, but it just has the low and the high, no mid EQ. Same thing with 7.8. And they both have RCA inputs for the mixer and also have the 1/4 inch line inputs, and 5.6 has an input for a foot switch to toggle on and off the effects for the mixer. And so 910 is kind of unique. Has the same features as 5, 6, 7, 8, a level control, pan, effects, the low and the high EQ. And there's a button here for that you can press. If it's depressed, then you're using the USB output input on the mixer, and if it's up, you're accepting the 1/4 inch line inputs for that mixer. But one thing I've noticed, if you look down here, 910 USB in. This appears only to work for input coming into the mixer, because you can see I've had the level of the mixer all the way off and you're still hearing my audio. So I guess the microphone must be routing through here and then going back out through the mixer, which from what I read has a constant level output. And so you change the output coming out of that USB by turning the level. My voice went down, turning the level back up is how you control, I guess, the level or gain coming out of that USB if you use it as an output. So that's something to keep in mind. You can see this level control, where we would think controls the output of the stereo signal, the mix, that does nothing as well. So these 2 knobs do nothing for the USB signal coming out of the mixer. So this is for USB in. I guess if you're running an input, say from maybe a CD player or something coming in that maybe does not, or some other device that doesn't have a volume control, this will work. And there's also a way you can add some dB attenuation through that effects knob there. And so once we get to the effects channel, so I'll turn the effects level up here, and then you want to press this button till it turns yellow. So the effects channel is engaged, but we need to turn up this parameter knob that just sets the, I guess, min-max level or whatever effect you want to put on the signal, but we still need to turn this white knob up. So now hopefully you can hear quite a bit of reverb in the audio. Change it to number 2, press it, it selects that one. Number 3, change it. Another some more reverb. Let me go to 24. That's supposed to be pitch changer, so it's in the center now, but if I go to the left, it'll drop my voice down, and go the other way, it'll raise my pitch of my voice back up. Not exactly sure when you would use that a whole lot. Number 23 is supposed to add some distortion to the vocals or the effects. And a lot of these are just like more type of reverbs or chorus effects that you can get on the audio. Go back to number 11. Let's go back down to number 3. So it's a little bit more pronounced with the reverb. So I'll just turn that off. Turn the parameter. Now we disengage the reverb or the effects channel. Here I have my headphones plugged into this to the headphone monitor jack. You control the volume coming through the headphones with that knob there. And that's kind of the main highlights. And I guess you have some 2 1/4-inch stereo outputs that you can come out of the mixer with, and also 2 XLR outputs that you can come out of the mixer with. It also has 2 monitor outputs and an effects send output there. So I basically bought this mixer to try to do some live streaming through Facebook and other platforms, and did a test with it. And people listening said the audio level was low. So I was running this, the USB output is right here, if you could see that. And so actually I'm running that through a cable, this cable. Here it's plugging into my iPad, which is taking the video right now, through a lightning to USB adapter. So the USB output of this mixer is running through this cable to my iPad through the adapter. And so, like I said, this level from this 910 channel, which the USB is on, is doing nothing. So there's some kind of a set level, and you control, I guess, the other levels from the devices plugged into the mixer through the channels and the level and the gain inputs that you select. And so I had gotten an XLR to lightning adapter that's coming in. So I'm going to bypass this USB output channel, and I should be getting a lot more gain or signal strength coming out from here. And then I'll run this similarly up to my iPad, and so that should be better. And then I believe the stereo level output, now I'll be able to use that. That'll come into play, but that's not used on the USB channel at all. So I guess there's some other, I guess you can get some line 1/4-inch to lightning or whatever adapters that you want to try to bypass this USB output line as well. A number of people, if you read about this mixer, complain about the low output on the USB. So that's kind of a high-level overview of the mixer. I've been using it basically, like I said, to try to do some live streaming, but also I recently gotten the Cakewalk Bandlab digital workstation, so doing some audio processing. And so I'm hooking this mixer up to the computer. And another thing I guess I've noticed, I forgot if I mentioned this already, but from my experience, you want to set the level of this the meter when you're speaking, where it's almost up to the red peak line, but not quite, or you can go in there minimally. I guess I think I did mention this before. But if you set it where it's just going into the yellow, the output of this mixer through the USB is going to be low. So that's not going to be very effective. So you want to raise the level and the gain on the channel of the mic or whatever instrument that you're ever using that channel all the way up to the yellow, and then just where it's ticking into the red, getting into the peak. So that's what I've been doing when I've been recording as well, and it seems to be working well. That's just kind of a quick overview of the Yamaha MG10XU mixer. And I forgot to mention, I guess the channels here have a peak indicator if you start clipping, getting into distortion as well. And it kind of has a neat connector on the back. It's a circular connector that plugs in, and then the ring screws on so the power cord stays attached to the mixer, so it can't unplug. So I guess so far, I mean, I've been happy with it. It's not ideal for doing audio interface or using the like the Cakewalk software, but there's a way you can get 2 channels in from this mixer. If you go into the software and select one channel with the pan this to the left, another channel, pan it to the right. I'm sorry, another channel, you'll pan that other channel to the right. And so you can get 2 inputs coming out of the mixer going into the computer through the USB interface. So if you're predominantly wanting to do processing video or audio processing, audio interface would probably be maybe a better, more functional way to go. But I guess I can use this mixer as well, like I said, for live streaming and other things where I think you can use a audio interface and do the same thing. And so that's my review. I'll probably maybe do another video having this hooked up to the computer using the Cakewalk Bandlab. I'm still learning my way around that, but just to see how that looks.